Kenya was the host of the extraordinary meeting of the 13th Governing Council of Parties to the Lusaka Agreement from 28th to 29th of June 2023 in Nairobi. The Lusaka Agreement is a treaty that is open to all African states and ratified for purposes of enhancing cooperation in reducing and ultimately eliminating illegal trade in wild fauna and flora in the region. The agreement was negotiated under the auspices of the United Nations Environment Programme (UNEP). The treaty, that has 6 member states comprising of Kenya, Congo Brazzaville, Lesotho, Liberia, Tanzania and Zambia, and Ethiopia, Eswatini and South Africa as signatories, was created to pool resources and forge a regional front in stemming organized local and transnational wildlife crime that not only endangers the survival of protected fauna, animals and flora plant species, but also threatens the socio-economic and the environmental well-being of all African states. The wildlife crime, ranked fourth internationally after drug trafficking, human trafficking and illegal small arms, is organized, transnational in nature and needs collaborative efforts with other countries to stop its proliferation. It is for this reason that at a meeting held in Lusaka in 1994, member countries adopted the Lusaka Agreement on cooperative enforcement operations directed at illegal trade in wild fauna and flora under the Lusaka Agreement. The member states committed to stop iconic species such as the elephant, rhino, and assorted forest specimen in Africa from the threats of extinction because of poaching and illegal trafficking in wildlife products. Poaching and illegal trafficking of wildlife also impairs the integrity of the ecosystem and robs the government of the biodiversity resources that are the mainstay of most economies in Africa. The Lusaka Agreement has a 3-tier organizational mechanism comprising a ministerial decision-making organ called the Governing Council, a national implementing and enforcement authority called the National Bureau, a permanent regional body serving as an operation arm, and secretariat of the agreement called the Lusaka Agreement Task Force. The Lusaka Agreement Task Force is an intergovernmental law enforcement organization and the implementing agency of the Lusaka Agreement. The task force facilitates cooperative enforcement operations directed at containing illegal wildlife trade with the support of other law enforcement agencies. Day 1 of the extraordinary meeting of the 13th Lusaka Agreement Governing Council was the official opening of the expert session attended by delegates drawn from member states.
On behalf of the Secretariat, I want to express our deep gratitude to the government of Kenya through Madam PS and specifically the Kenya Wildlife Service and the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage for their support in successfully hosting this extraordinary 13th Governing Council meeting.
I want to take this opportunity to thank member states of Lusaka Agreement Task Force for their commitment, cooperation and adhering to the gist of the Task Force Agreement, which is the blueprint for fighting and dismantling poaching and wildlife trafficking cartels within this region. Combating international wildlife trade requires close collaboration from all Lusaka Agreement Task Force member countries and stakeholders who must continuously work together to bring the threat to zero and collectively secure our region as a wildlife trafficking free zone.
Kenya is proud to be hosting this council meeting, which attests to its steadfast commitment to the affairs of Lusaka Agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being held at a time when wildlife crime has become a global agenda, and indeed significant investments continue to be made in the fight against illegal trade in wild fauna and flora. It's therefore gratifying to see our member states and other African countries congregating, as is the case here today, to review the progress and formulate pragmatic solutions towards curtailing the vice, which is decimating our rich environmental resources that are the mainstays of our economies in Africa.
The second day kicked off with the extraordinary meeting of the 13th Governing Council of Parties to the Lusaka Agreement with the ministerial session of member states.
We should not forget that wildlife crime continues to be a serious and growing problem among our nations. Neither should we forget that wildlife and forest crimes are depleting our ecological infrastructure, robbing us and our future generations of essential life systems and development opportunities. Thus, our actions here at this meeting must be geared to being part of the solution.
LATIF has actively engaged in transnational law enforcement activities within member states and beyond, and the outcomes of these efforts have been discussed extensively during the technical experts meeting. Our commitment to building partnerships with key actors in the sector has been resolute. I take this opportunity to commend our partners and donors who have provided crucial technical and financial support throughout the period under review. Particularly, I highlight the substantial support that Lusaka Agreement Task Force secured from strategic partners for the benefit of member states. Notably, we successfully obtained funding support of over $950,000 from the European Union, JEF UNDP USAID project entitled Reducing Maritime Wildlife Trafficking Between Africa and Asia. This funding facilitated the organization of various capacity building workshops on wildlife crimes conducted in collaboration with the African Union Commission as well as the ENACT project.
The chief guest at the Governing Council meeting, Kenya's Attorney General, urged all African states to ratify the Lusaka Agreement.
I urge all African states who have not yet ratified this agreement to do so, as there is strength in numbers. The African saying that if you want to walk fast, you walk alone. But if you want to walk far, you walk together with others. Let us embark on this important journey for our flora and fauna. I'm pleased to note that significant achievements have been made since the inception of the Lusaka Agreement.
The Republic of Kenya assumed presidency of the 13th Governing Council of Parties to the Lusaka Agreement from the Republic of Zambia with the first female president.
This extraordinary meeting of the Council in Nairobi, Kenya is to facilitate the handover of the Council presidency to the Republic of Kenya and to deliberate on the matters pertaining to the implementation of the treaty, including the presentation of the audit reports and allocation of land for the construction of the LATIF headquarters. The Lusaka Agreement is Africa's own initiative to foster cooperation in protecting our planet's invaluable diversity. Its inception was a testament of the collective commitment of our nations to combat wildlife crime, and it continues to serve as a vital framework for conservation efforts across our region. The agreement has enhanced regional cooperation, enabling us to pool our resources, knowledge and expertise towards the common goal of preserving our natural heritage, and the agreement should therefore be supported at all costs. I think some of the achievements that we've made also is that of the gender balance. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to pull the cat out of the bag. Her Excellency, Honorable Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage of Kenya,